I'll try to do sorry, something quick. I don't have all my equipment. My point form die is out. I bent my ejection pin the other day, so that'll be a week or two before I get it back. And I'm out of 22 long rifle brass from the range. When I get some more, I have to add that. I processed almost 4,000 pieces a couple weeks ago, so it's just bad timing. Everyone's asking for a video. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do what I can, but it's going to be a little disjointed because things are going to have to be added in later. Alright, here's pretty much the kit. Mine's a little different because I custom ordered a rebated boat tail kit, and I don't think BT had made one. He usually has regular boat tail and flat base, and the boat tail kit you can make both. Originally this design I was supposed to get all three. It wasn't quite right, and he changed the die out, so I've got rebated and flat, but I don't have normal anymore. But that's fine with me. The rebated is kind of best of both worlds. You get that little bit of flat base, and that takes care of the gas cutting that is a problem with regular boat tails. So you still got a little boat tail, you get the long distance stability and the short distance stability. If you ever watch videos of why boat tails are unstable at short distances, that's what the rebate, that little bit of flat base, it projects the blast outward instead of the bullet having to go through that initial cloud and being unstable. Alright, let's start out. The auto ejection system, I'm using a Elite Classic cast press. Don't know, this piece unscrews. With this, there's a replacement, and that's where your base punches go, and it also holds on the auto ejection system. This goes through this plate, screws in, and then these bolt on. I put a piece of PVC on because those threads can rip up your hands. So where my left hand goes in, I put a little piece of protection. This piece pushes down on the ejection pins, and there's a stuck bullet extraction kit, and what this does is it goes in there. You have to unscrew the top of your point form die. There's a little pin that this hooks onto and extracts. Usually you can just get it in there and pull it out by hand. And then this is pretty simple. That you screw down through the hole. Oh, let me back up. You take the die and you run it up through so that the ejection is here, and everything just runs down in. Then this, you screw right down in the bullet, and it'll pull it out the bottom of the die. I've had to use it a few times, not too often, but first time I freaked right out. Like, ah! But it wasn't that bad. Thing is, with the boat tail kit and the flat base, there's precise adjustments on the point form die that you have to, depending on which one you're doing, you have to take calipers and adjust it right up, because the inside is angled. So if the inside is low, you just get a flat base, but if it's raised up inside, you get that boat tail. Where the rebated boat tail is completely different. it's basically straight walled, but there's two different inserts to change which base. So it's easier on one hand, and but it's neither here nor there. All right, let me put this together. I'm gonna have to pause this to do it, get it together. There's a lot of two-hand operations. Oh yeah, check this out. I swaged a lead bullet with without a jacket, and it actually looks really good. No, if only it weren't pure plumber's lead. If you could do that with some clip-on wheel weights, probably have something. All right, let me pause this and oh, actually, hold on a second. Let me get to the rest of it. All right, he sends some lube, which you make your own. I make my own. This is a little thicker, a little pastier, but it's the same components. It's anhydrous lanolin and castor oil, and he added a little bit of orange essential oil to it, and oh man, it made it smell really good down here. It made everything relaxing, like aromatherapy. So I tried to do the same, but mine, I kind of ended up making it a little thin, so I didn't add as much. It's got little scent, but just enough so it doesn't smell like lanolin and castor oil. Another difference in my kit is, since I opted for the ability to make heavy jackets out of the long rimfire brass, I also got a a 6mm ejection, or D-rim die, because they have to be taken down small enough to be run through the 224 die. So you do this, and then there's an extra step, but yeah. Plus you have to trim those down afterwards too, because there's a max length of 1 inch. So after you de-rim them, take the bench top cutoffs, a little mini beast like you use for 300 blackout, and you trim them down to 1 inch. Now 22 long rifle is 5/8 of 1 inch, so you get an extra 3/8 of 1 inch to work with. So 90 grain aren't out of the question, I don't think. I got a 1 1/8 twist, so 77 to 80 is the max. I should have no problem. The other difference is, all right, what he does, he makes it's a 6-cavity mold, but wait, there's more. It's really 11 cavities, and mine is overboard. Instead of the normal ones are 0.70 inch long, and they drop around 52 grains. This one is drilled 1 inch long, and it drops 82 to 84 grain. So yeah, that's why I'll be able to make those big beasts. And it's a little rougher on the equipment when you go down small. And I'm going to have another mold made, just not sure when. I want one that drops them around 60, 62, a little bigger than the standard, but something where I can just whip out 65 grains easy, 62 to 65, stuff like that, would pretty effortlessly. Yep, that's where I fixed them. That's the one. I had to do that too, because the threads on that beast totally wiped out. Just get so hot. But the thing about the cores is, you don't have to worry about if they're perfect. Heck, I had them where they were only partial cores or big divots, where I don't know why, that they just run low on lead or whatever. Chunks right out of the sides, but when I swage them down, beautiful. So that's one nice thing. The difference is the jackets, sometimes you get the base will split. It will actually pop open. Yeah, kind of like a lateral slit, it looks like. Or sometimes the point will fold. In either of those cases, you can still use them. So those aren't a loss. It's when the nose either splits lengthwise a little bit, or you're ejecting, and sometimes you got to adjust it quite right, or something in the pin penetrates past the nose down into the lead, and it sticks on the pin, and those you pretty much got trash. It's like a real hollow point, but damaged. Or sometimes the very tip of the base, when you're seating the core, will actually flip open, almost like a pop top, and those are trash. There's some other, if you got it way out of adjustment, they're no good, but for the most part, probably 80% are salvageable, if not more. But yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, casting is just a start. That's just casting the cores. But with an 11 cavity mold, you can crank out a buttload, and haven't had to worry about frosting or anything like that. A few thousand, it really wouldn't be too bad. Take a couple minute rest here and there, but I've cast hundreds without taking a break and just keep going. Let's see, anything else? Oh yeah. See, on mine, there's okay, this is the core seating die. No, my mistake. Sorry. That's the core sizing die. Yikes! Let me try to run in one. Most of them are numbered. Let me try and run them in order. Okay, we have the D-rim die. All this sucker does is they go in there. See, this is a core punch. Got to make sure there's a little lube on there, or they'll stick. And you just run them up and you wipe it off the outside of the brass. Run it up and down in the die a few times, it'll come off. But it's rounded, and that sizes them for core seating. And this just, they pop out the top. It's kind of like the bullet sizer. Same idea, except it takes a whole lot more pressure. It's probably the most pressure it takes in the whole procedure. Let's see. For number 2, that's the core sizing die. It's got a different base punch. This one's the core seater. And right now, you can see that one's rounded. It's dished in. That's for making the rebated boat tails. I was having trouble because the first bunch I did, I over annealed them, which bakes the zinc out. Don't do it. And made me up another one that kind of steps it a little different. But I finally figured out how to get away without this one. Every now and then I have failures, but it's not too bad. And this insert is for flat base. So basically, unscrew the top, swap out the inserts, screw it back down. There's no real adjustment on this other than there. Actually, I got my Lee lock rings, but he sends them with Hornady. He sends them with Hornady lock rings on them, so that's pretty cool. Except since I experiment so much with different sizes, it's easier for me to use the leads because I can, I don't have to unlock them, and and then they spin two free and adjust themselves. So yeah, and then let's see, where is number 4? Oh, I don't have, like I said, I don't have my point forming die. But yeah, see, there. If you can see it, they're stamped with numbers, and the base punch and the die have corresponding numbers, so it makes it pretty easy. They're in order. Sends samples of things, and for flat base there is a this is it's machined out of brass, and you put it in your point form die, you adjust it up, and it's really close to what you need. But there's only one for the flat base, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Makes that a little easier, but yeah, it's way off for anything else. And it's not exact. You put kind of like any other die, you take it down to where it touches, and then you give it a little more. But actually, there's other samples, like core samples, different jacket samples, so you get an idea of how far down it should be in there. And what I found is with the 22 LR brass, 69 grain is kind of hit and miss. Sometimes they come out beautiful, other times you mangle the tips, so rejection rate is kind of high on them, but it's still cool to be able to do it. Look in the loading manual and go, that sounds like a cool weight, let me adjust them. Oh, he also makes a kit that it's called the Simple, and it only makes 55 grain, and that's it. It's got a smaller, I think it's like 4, I don't remember, and it's a one size and that's it. But I wanted to be able to play around. The Simple's like $700 or something though, instead of like $1,600. So yeah, I got it during a 20% off sale at the beginning of the year during tax season. So I upgraded with this, and I still saved some money. So yeah, I figured, why not give myself some options? Let's see. Yeah, let me get this thing together and get on with a little bit more what I can. All right, that's what she looks like. Now, this tray came out of a refrigerator. I think it was like the butter tray or something. Drilled some holes. Drill that is just a little bit bigger than that punch, so it goes down through. And the bar is underneath it. This is out of an old food processor, old Bosch that burned up. And I modified it, so it's cut down here so that if I need to use a stuck bullet puller, I can lower this bar down low enough. And it's got a nice chute, so when all the lead bits there, I can just shove them in, or actually I'll run brass till this sucker pretty much fills right up and just shove them in there. Made this to hold the Allen key for the other lock rings. But yeah, I'm a no budget shooter, and I make stuff work as best I can. Yeah, kind of cool. These just happen to fit right around there and hold in place, catch my junk. Yeah, the reason I invested in this was because 223, I figured I could either spend money at Rotometals or do this, get my stuff for free, and 20,000 bucks later, it's paid off. But yeah, that was part of it, you know, not having to harden, because really the main suggestion is dead soft lead. But it says up to 10 BHN, but admits that's an arbitrary number. So, you know, it's kind of good question. My longer cores too hard, it makes it really tough, because it's hard to get a good angle. Plus, there's all that extra pushing to do. But the shorter ones where you're just taking off a few, you know, 5 grain or whatever, probably you could get away with a few more BHN. Let me think. Oh, yeah, the difference. This is the stuff he sent, and it's, you know, nice and firm. It smells lovely. Oh, I can smell it from here. And mine is a little thinner, especially once it gets warm. What happened was I dropped the jug of lanolin, a pound of it, so I lost some of it. Then forgot, kind of, in my rush, and put in the full amount of castor oil, which is 2 fluid ounces. 2 fluid ounces of castor oil to a pound of anhydrous lanolin. You just mix it up. And if you want to put in a little aroma, makes it nice. Oh. Doesn't smell like lube. And like these, I would have gotten about 16 of these. They're, you know, old film canisters for the old projector, film strip projectors. I think I got 12 out of it, and it's about $30 roughly for the ingredients to make you know, a pound roughly, and it'll last a long time. Get over 1,000 bullets or more out of that. That little one he sent, I got pretty nearly that. I think this is my 3rd one. Let me think. But yeah, right now I've got the core sizing die in there. And give me a second here. Doing this stuff one-handed is not really good. Most of it is two-handed stuff. Oh, here. Now this one has been taken down to weight, which is about 45 grains roughly. And this one is, well, get out my scale. Why not? I mean, this would have started out 52 in a normal. That one's 45. Exactly. And that one is 82.3. They vary a couple grains. And this is range scrap, so it's a touch lighter. So basically, take a little of this. Not a lot at all. Just enough to smooth on your fingers. It's good for your skin too. It'll soften. Oh, my hands are nice and soft. I just roll them in there. Let me see. Yeah, basically just like a bullet size. You hold it on top of that, and you pull the handle and run it up through. Let's see if I can get this started, and then do the rest of my left hand. This is uncoordinated, that's for sure. Oh, here we go. What happens is, shoots at the side. You go down full stroke to keep them consistent. After they come out of the die, sometimes they'll have this gold, it's almost foil, it's real thin, hanging off the ends. It's either use your thumbnail, or I've been using a razor blade because my thumbnail has pretty much disappeared recently. Yeah, it's softened up. Let's see if I can demonstrate that. I just lay it flat, And take her off. Kind of careful. Oh, this one had a little bit on each end. Careful and you won't cut yourself. Afterwards, I throw them in here with Dawn and little Lemmy Shine. Shake them up real good. And I pour it into a piece of window screen so they drain off. I pour it back into the jug. I reuse it a bunch of times till it's just worn out. Rinse it off. Take it over, rinse it out with a hose. Bring it back. Throw them in vinegar. Shake them up and let them sit for 20 minutes. And that will oxidize. And the oxidation helps them bond to the jacket. Now you can get bonding. There's a bonding agent, but I don't use it. I don't know if there's a homebrew version out there or not, but this seems to work pretty good. You do the same thing, dump it out in there, dump the solution back at the bottom, go rinse them out, then let them dry, and it doesn't take long for them to start oxidizing. They get much browner than they started out. They're much more gray, I mean. And the vinegar just, hastens it. It shortens the time to, I don't know. It seems like by the time they're dry, to a couple hours versus days or weeks. So then they're ready for core seating. There. Alright, like I said, divide up my cores and jackets by weight. Okay, I've got 9.8 grain Remington. You'll find each brand has a few weights that you get most of, and then other ones, vary. 9.8, 45.2. Right. Tear this. Let's see. So 9.8, 0.8, 55. According to Corbin's site, you want to be within plus or minus 0.5% for accuracy. So on 55, it's 0.275 grain. You can be off, and you're fine. So almost 3/10 of a grain. So it's not too bad. And dividing it up makes it pretty easy. Alright, on to that core shaker. I made this out of scrap wood I had laying around. There's a guy who sells a 3D printed one on cast bullets that does 100. It's like 75 bucks. It's probably a little simpler than this, but hey, this one didn't cost me anything but some time. And it does 315. Overkill. Now, everything here, the hole diameter and the distance is you need that. It's set up for 55 grain, and that determines how the casings fall. What it is the closed end is heavier, so what happens is the open end will slide across, and the closed end will drop down in. And I went to there's some sites that you can customize printable graph paper, and so I had to kind of figure it out. I printed that up, taped it on, and marked all my holes, and oh, let me pull it apart and you'll see. There's the way I did it, the top is a 3/4 inch piece of ply, and I drilled the hole with a step drill. Now the thing is, where these steps are, let's see, I can't remember, but it's right here. It starts to angle out to the next step, and right at the top of that angle is where I stopped them. It gives it that little bit of angle, a little cone right at the top, and you need that. It worked out really well. And then the center of it is a 1/4 inch hole, and here's the bottom one, and you drill them at the same time. That way all the holes line up. If you're off a little bit, the hole still lines up. And if you see, I marked them so that corner lines up. It lines up. This, I built this frame that holds them in place, so all the holes line up. I can move, slide things around. The base of it's just, piece of plywood, 1/2 inch. A couple rails just to hold everything. I can slide it either way. Goes in, goes down. Now, because of the thicknesses, that bottom one's a 1/2 inch piece, and that hole makes it where when the brass is sitting in there, it sticks up enough where you can catch it. My rows are all kind of close. A lot of people would leave. A lot of them you'll see, they would have deleted every other row to get a one way or the other to get some finger space, but this works pretty good, and 315 is just ridiculous. I use this because of the way it is. It's just like an 1/8 inch piece, and the slick side I put down because when the cases are in there, it slides across the case mouths without grabbing like this side would. But you'll see what that's for in a second. Goes in like that, goes in like that, and then the fun begins. Excess is best here. You dump in a whole bunch. You go crazy with them. You can either shake the whole thing like this, or you can kind of run them around. Eventually, you fill them up pretty good. You can see they're pretty well filled up already. There's some missing. There's a couple problem ones, but the price is right. A lot of hole drilling. It's where drill press kind of paid for itself. Yeah, you get down to the last few and you go, meh. Fill them in by, one at a time. And you'll see some of them are upside down, but the majority fall right in place. But those get sorted, you flip those over after. It's quick and painless. Takes a minute. Let me just fill these out real quick and be done with it. The reason I put that blank piece in there is because with this being 3/4 inch, but I needed that to get the funnel. And if I don't do that, the first one will drop all the way down to the bottom, and then they'll double stack, and it's a mess that way. And the cores will do the same thing. But the cores, when they drop into the brass, they're not flush. So the second one that drops in it'll just hang and just be standing up. It's just so I figured out putting that in there alleviates the whole problem, and works good. Every now and then I have a mishap, but for the most part it's not a biggie. I think that's pretty much got it. Like if I had to cut a little piece here, I could just scoop them out the side. I can kind of scoop them out there, but it's real slow. I did this so I could stick my finger in there. You'll see. Come on. It's a little warped. Right. Promises, right? There. Piece slides out. I can just grab it. And you see they've already started dropping in from the bottom right there, all the way down. Let me get these out of here and I'll come right back. Alright, let's continue on here. Just don't want that to slide past the edge. It'll drop right on through and end up on the bench. Alright, now where I'd done a couple of these, those loose ones found their way, double stacked. See if they won't go down. And they just stick up that little bit, so yeah, you gotta pick them out. There's just no way around it. Thought I dropped one. Stacked it a few times, most of them will find their way down, unless sometimes the case mouths are squished, which annealed you can, do it like that. They're annealed really well. You can just right, well, you see it, and then you just take the D-rim die and open that up a little bit, run the D-rim die in there, and round it back out. You might have to give it a little pressure with your finger to get it rounded, but then it'll be all okay. No loss, unless it's so squished it damaged beyond help. Alright, now, see, like I did little things like that to help me get my fingers in there and grip, like so I could push that piece out. I dip that in. Alright, let's see how those are. Some of them are flipped. That's where this piece comes in. Put that on. Now let's see if I can do this one-handed without dumping them, because I did that earlier and I've had to remake this. Okay, success. That comes off. Pow. And you just flip these suckers over. And if you missed any, you can fill them in. Some from the bag. Don't really have to. I don't actually have enough the right weight cores to finish this off. Wow, it's getting late in my... I'm getting really all over the place with the phone, sorry. It's like going on 6 a.m. I think. Yeah. At least I'm not all punch drunk. But yeah, right here, if I would have skipped rows to give more place to put my fingers, it'd be a lot easier, but not a biggie. In 2 hands, this will go a lot faster, but oh well. Now, in this position, this is how you separate by head stamp. they were de-rimmed and then washed and dry them. Now I bake them to dry them because I've found that even after you're going over them with a magnet, sometimes you miss some pins, and you throw them into a anneal, they get so hot the magnet won't pick them up anymore. And you know, stainless pins are expensive, so I bake them for like an hour at 200, and they're fine. And a few will fall out, because you can throw them into a anneal while they're still wet. It's not a problem. It's not like lead, and they'll just steam for a little while. But like I said, stainless pins don't like it too well. But at this point, yeah, I got magnifying glass just in case. But most of them you can tell, and you just separate the head stamps out and throw them in bins. There's some, like the Euro ones, there's one of them that looks like Remington after it's been de-rimmed. It's, you know, everything's a little, you know, harder to read. But I just take the Euro ones and throw them in one bin, and when I get a bunch of them, then I'll sort them. And then later, I take each head stamp and sort those by weight and bag them up, you know, like these. These are all Remingtons. 9.7s, 9.6s. So. All right. Let's flip these back over. Hopefully without issues. Oh, it's easier this way. And then made this mistake earlier, not trading this out. This one's too thick and it doesn't work well for dropping the cores in. See, this side will slide over this a lot easier. Put that in, put this in. We're dumping a bunch of cores. Shake them up and come around. They drop right in pretty good. It's faster to do it this way. Like I said, I don't have nearly enough cores. I made up another batch with a lot more of this weight, but I haven't divided them out yet, so, you know. Alright, let's try this again. I guess I don't want that to slide beyond that base, or else it will drop right onto the bench. Let's see, that one might be, I need an adjustment. We'll find out. Yeah. Yep, see that one, it was trying to go in that one, it's slightly misshapen. Take this. Where is it? Take that die. Might have to do that and give it a little pressure. But it's not perfect. It goes right in. Alright. All the ones that have cores are ready to be core seated, which is a die change and another step. But really, there's only 2 steps left. Core seating and the point forming. Alright, see you later. Well, that's as far as I can really go until I get my point forming die back and some brass. So when I get that, I guess I can actually finish this, and yeah, it's a little out of order because of that, and kind of a cliffhanger. Be nice to be able to finish up and, you know, have bullets in hand, but, you know, I got handfuls of right now, but that doesn't do you any good. So hopefully within a couple weeks, we've pretty much run out of nice weekends here in the Northeast. So yeah, getting brass for me here may not be in the cards. Hopefully somebody can send me some. Elvis gives me those 17 HMRs. I'll figure out how to make the big heavy ones, and that's a little more involved, and that ought to be fun. And well, that pretty much explain everything and then some. All right, later. Bye.